what's good, everybody? It's your boy Billy Bones reporting back from the Boneyard again with another Nearcon watch party. Today, we're going to watch something from the Layer 2 stage. We've been watching a lot from the Layer 1 stage and the bigger news, but we got some smaller news going on. I don't know why I said that twice, but we're going to start watching the Layer 2 stage. And if we go check over here, make this bigger for you guys. The Layer 2 stage, we are going to look at, let me minimize this. We're talking about the Near Governance Forum today, and this is about an hour long, I think it looks like. So we'll maybe skip through some of it, but there's AVB, Transparency Commission, Cameron Dennis, Banyan Collective, Blaze and Cheddar, Gus, and Near Week. So I am interested in seeing this because we didn't watch anything from the Layer 2 stage yet. So, and then, got Seuss. I'm sorry, Seuss. Seuss is here too. Say hi,
What's
Seuss.
up? What's up, everyone?
Good morning. I'm trying to set up TikTok at the same time. So, yeah, we are ready to go. Let's share the space. Let's get this thing on the road since it's about an hour long. We'll get this started. We'll start sharing the spaces, and we'll pause maybe here and there, and maybe do some giveaways. I don't know. We'll see who shows up. But let's get this going.
To the stage, Near Foundation's David Morrison.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out to the final day of Nearcon 2023!
You guys are weirdo. But it's fun.
All right. How you all doing? Hungover? Yeah, well, you're going to be even more hungover tomorrow when you go to the big party tonight. I just want to say a huge welcome to everyone. It's been an absolutely incredible event. Do you agree? Yeah? Perfect. Okay, we have a wonderful lineup of speakers for you today. I think the stage is going to close about 1 o'clock. There's going to be some alpha downstairs with Ilya and co. It is your last chance to grab swag, and I've heard there's a fire sale. There will be an ENG QR code up here that you can scan to grab yourself the last little piece of change to get whatever t-shirts, hats, water bottles that you want. That's all there's left. But that's enough of me. We have a wonderful panel about the Near Governance Forum. And I'm going to introduce your wonderful moderator, who I think is actually slightly taller than me. Yeah? We'll find out, Gus. Come on. This is Gus Friss of Near Week.
Yes! So, hello everyone. Welcome to this first session on the last day of
This is
Nearcon.
the Near Week team.
Today we're going to talk about
Gus is
Near
on the
Digital
left.
Collective.
Cameron is
and I say
to his,
it that way and not
next to
NDC
him.
because I
There's
feel in
AVB,
this
and then
discussion
there's
it's
Blaze.
important we are not just using abbreviations and really make it accessible
We'll
for
have
people
heroes
who
on
perhaps are not
Friday.
as much as you guys like following NDC all the time. For this session, we're going to have 55 minutes. We're going to divide it into like two main pieces. The first piece is going to be us.
Good.
First, we're going to hear about you guys. We're going to hear about the purpose of the body you represent, a bit about you guys, a lightning talk, about 3 minutes each.
Nono says what's up from TikTok.
And in the second half, we will hear about
Hey, what's up, Nono?
what you have to answer for questions from the audience. And that's an opportunity for
Thanks for joining
everyone
us,
in here.
Nono. We
Thanks
are watching
for showing up.
the Layer
That,
2 stage
you
from
can
day
ask what's on
3
your
of
mind.
Nearcon.
And
just having a little Nearcon watch party in case we missed
we
it.
have nice, polite
Pretty
answers.
soon
We will
there's going to be a ton of
answer politely, so looking forward to conversation.
coming out next
we all
week
have good
about
intentions,
it.
so
After everyone
there's been a lot of
recovers from their
debate
hangover
reaching
and their
around,
trip.
a lot of things in DC, but I'm sure we can have a very nice conversation. I don't want to speak much myself. I can just say my name is Gus. I work at Near Week and also Building Heroes. Not too relevant for this conversation.
I hope to make some content
how I got
myself.
into this
Maybe they'll
field
have some
originally
bounties like they did
of
last
blockchain
year.
in
I heard they're
2016
giving away,
was actually because of governance.
$5,000 or
I'm
something like that
a
for
political
content,
science
videos.
student and very active in the downlink
interesting.
system. So governance, both from the old world, centralized and decentralized variations, I find very interesting. Enough about me. So Cameron, why
Just
don't
doing
you tell a bit
introductions right now.
about yourself and like
Yo, Stanley, what's up?
the house you're in
On
now, or the
YouTube.
body you're in, and
How's it going?
what's the purpose of that?
Great. So, hey, everybody.
Yet
My name is
another
Cameron Dennis.
Nearcon watch
I've been
party.
working in your
Oh,
ecosystem for the last 3 years or
Let's
so.
end this live.
Specifically at Near Foundation, Pagoda, or Near Inc.
I'm over here
before,
talking to the
and
chat.
I represent the House of Merit. I'm one of 15
Oops,
elected
wait, can you
people.
see that?
So this body is primarily responsible for
No.
This is
providing
Cameron.
recommendations
Never
to the
mind.
Council of Advisors on
Yep.
how a budget should be spent. And
Oh, he's
we are the
young.
ones to sort of be
Yeah, he looks young.
more forward-facing with these grassroots DAOs,
But
these
he looks like
organizations that
young.
are applying for
He's
money
young.
from the NDC.
He's
So
like
we essentially
20.
try to filter them
Hey,
and
Tono.
make recommendations to the budget of the Council of Advisors. And so
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
have to set
you
it
know,
up.
Blaze
This
will
is,
probably tell
this
you
is
a little
really
more
basic.
about the COA,
This is just what
Council of
TikTok
Advisors.
Do you want to
offers.
But in a
but I would
nutshell,
like a
they
better
define
background
the
and maybe
what,
like a
we
better
define the
border
how.
and stuff like that.
So they say we need
yeah.
these things done, and we are like, okay,
And
great.
the
This
problem
is
is,
how we're going
I
to go
can't
about it. This is how
share-
much money we're
I
going to
need to
need,
get another
and
camera
this is how we're
because
going
you
to
can't
spend
share
it. So
cameras with like,
we'll
two
dive more
different
into like
sources, you know what I
actually
mean?
what's gone
You need
on
to
thus
get
far.
one
but
camera
I think
per
it sort of
source.
sums it up.
Yeah, thanks. AVB, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm AVB from the Transparency Commission. So in my background, I actually have studied law, technically a lawyer in Australia. And yeah, I mean, a guru would say at the top of the mountain that
It's through OBS.
the universe is conspiring to help me achieve my mission, which is to see
through
Near
OBS?
succeed. They sent me to law school, it was torture for 7 years. And now I
Is
somehow
AVB?
ended up in the Transparency Commission. So the Transparency Commission resembles a legal body to a large extent. It's there, as the name
I
implies,
like how
to
he
make sure
uses
there's
a lot of
accountability
questions.
as we move to these new forms of governance. And yeah, it's just an oversight body. We've put in a lot of work to try to define what the processes are, what the scope are, and yeah, we'll be forthcoming with over 100 pages worth of frameworks to help us deal with some outstanding issues.
All right, yeah. So hey everyone, I'm Blaze. I've been with Near since before mainnet. Started as part of the validator
And that's Blaze.
competition. Joined that, became a validator on Near. I've been an active community member and contributor to the ecosystem in general. Then co-founded Cheddar, which is a small yield farm focused on helping provide opportunity for small wallet balances on Near. And then the
Go ahead and
champion of the
like and
NDC
retweet
in
that,
terms of just
this
getting
live on
V0 governance to a
X.
point where we could launch
We'll
to
do a
where we
giveaway.
are
We'll
now.
do a giveaway.
So
Whoever's here
now,
live,
as part of
whoever's
that,
here
a
chat.
member of the
Let me go
Council of
spam it in.
Advisors, which is
Nico,
really a
jump.
7-member council focused on advising the House of Merit, which is where Cameron is. So the House of Merit is about budget allocation and about establishing governance processes. The Council of Advisors is somewhat like an oversight council to that. So they have the ability to veto budget, to veto policy changes that they might make, but also really to more work with the HOM and the rest of the governing bodies to assure that governance is aligned to the strategic direction of NEAR and that we're actually deploying funding and deploying NDC to grow and sustain the ecosystem. So yeah, glad to be here and thanks everyone for joining.
We thank you all for your public service in those chambers. Thanks a lot for that. So yeah, thanks for that summary. Before we go into like more debates around specific topics, I think it would just be, for my own curiosity, quite interesting to hear if each of you around as well, hearing from your side. Cameron, starting with you, what do you think works well in NDC in the whole as right now, and what don't you think like works so well? What's the main challenges?
Yeah, so just for context, the NDC was first created by a group called the Governance Working Group, or the first legal framework. And so the framework was intentionally designed, and I think AVB and Blaze can talk more about this, but to be sort of broad to start. And the whole goal is for the House of Merit to kind of refine it and actually submit like formal bylaws and how these things operate and how voting works and the whole bit. And so I would say that has not totally come to fruition yet. The House of Merit is a little bit fragmented right now. And we can also go into why. In a nutshell, for those who did not participate and don't understand how this works, the voting body is essentially anybody that has a crypto in your wallet and went through the I am human verification process, which means you scan your face and that image then gets uploaded to a GDPR compliant database through this organization called Fractal. And these are the people that are now registered to vote. And they're the ones to decide on who actually gets placed in these different houses. And so that although it is actually, I think, one of the better approaches as we've seen in the blockchain space, and I've been in the space for about 6-7 years now, and I've also participated in decentralized governance. Normally that doesn't work very well because those who actually have all the votes can essentially place their people in key offices and do it strategically. So they have majority for when a budget comes through, and they can just essentially approve it and steamroll anyone who disagrees. And so unfortunately, this is kind of what has happened in a way. It's not too far off. It can be fixed, I guess is my point. But right now in the House of Merit, there is a very strong coalition, and they are very coordinated, and so they don't necessarily need to cooperate with anyone else because they can essentially push proposals through and vote, at least internally within the House of Merit, to get them passed. And so what we've seen thus far is decisions being made without the entire House of Merit even participating, because they can just make a proposal, pass it within themselves, and then push it on the council advisors. And I feel like that has actually led to less engagement from the people who really are trying to do it for the right reasons, because their voice doesn't really matter. So I think that's something that we definitely need to change in terms of what is going well. I did appreciate the sort of speediness of the council advisors coming out with metrics, defining the what. And so that was good. But besides that, we have a lot of work to do.
And with that bridge, let's go to AVB. Same question. What do you think works well? What do you think is not working well? And you can speak for your own body, but you're allowed to speak about the whole.
I'm an individual. Nothing I say is legal advice. If you want to see what works well, I would look at DevHub, and I would split the NDC landscape in several categories, because multiple things can be true at once, and you can mix and match. We may have to revise the voting body, because it is too broad. That may be true. But it may also be true that the majority that got in because they represent the general sentiment of the community. So there's a tension there between finding the right balance of who do we want to participate actively in governance, and acknowledging grievances of the community. The third category, which is where I would focus on, especially for Transparency Commission, is just the processes. Assuming that the people elected have the mandate and that they do represent some interest in the community, and by the way, most of the House of Merit is actually aligned in what they want to achieve. But we have now our discrepancies in either how to achieve it, or just personality clashes, different work modes. So what I personally think should be the priority would be to have very well understood simple processes so that everyone can be on the same page. Even if you're in a minority, you get your period to discuss, to be heard, case closed, moved on, and it's just having the sense of fairness. We're not going to be able to win all the time. We're not going to be able to have something perfect. We just need to get to the minimum viable trust. Otherwise, the long-term viability of the institution is not there. If we're not able to agree and trust internally, the community is obviously not gonna.
Yeah, please.
So over to me. So the first thing to understand about governance and decentralization is that they are very difficult topics, right? This is something that hasn't been really solved in the Web3 space very well. And so with NDC, we took a completely different approach where we put the community at the heart of governance instead of hiring high-end outside counsel or advisors or making the decision-making in the hands of the founders and the VCs that established the chain. We really engaged the community to begin to develop governance. And in that, there was a lot of challenges. But I would say that this initial state of governance that we have now, V1, is what we're transitioning to. It's like looking at, live raw earth, right? And now we've got to shape that earth and create more rigor, more processes, more procedures, as AVB was saying, to make that next version even better. So we know that this is going to be iterative. We know it's going to take time, and we know we won't get it right up front, right? We're just not going to get it right. So I think that's both the power of what we're doing, and it's kind of the side effect of saying that that it's both the negative and the positive that we're working through. But what is exciting is that we have an active Congress now, right? 29 elected members, elected by the community, right? And so we made the houses as big as they are because we wanted to make sure that we knew that there was a potential for collusion. We knew that, there could be coalitions that formed that tried to take over, the governing bodies. But, the good thing is that we have people like Cameron and other members in these houses because we made them in such a fashion that would be enabled. Now, the other thing that I would say is that, this process that we're going through, it will be bumpy, but, we're going to continue to make things a lot better.
Oh, it's
And
bumpy, all
so
right.
the idea, like AV was saying, is how do we grow
me
this
about
voting
it.
body? What are the criteria to vote in this next election? What kind of election are we going to build? Those are all the things that we have to work through in very short order. So we've got about 5 months left to deliver a new voting mechanism, to stand up these processes and procedures, to then turn this governance over to whoever the next elected officials are, assuming some of these folks will run as well and still be in the houses for another term.
Yeah, and if I could just add to what Blaise mentioned, because there's a fourth category. Assuming that we have all the processes in place, I like the analogy of terraforming, because if we in this room had to terraform a planet, we wouldn't pick people off the street. You'd probably want to have some nuclear scientists. And so that fourth category speaks to the challenge of having people that are very skilled and experienced and smart. They may just not be skilled or experienced in the governance realm. And to be perfectly honest, the opportunity cost of them attempting to do governance is just greater than what they could be doing, say, in engineering. So there is a bit of the spinning of the wheels from having people that may just not be into governance. So that's why I think that the big picture is important. We have people that felt the need to step up to make sure that the first council gets done right. And I would be patient on this group of people's ability or willingness to put in the processes so that then they can go away. And at least from the Transparency Commission, what I've done quite explicitly, and everyone agrees, is we're putting in frameworks in place so that it doesn't matter who's in the Transparency Commission. As long as they're doing their job and applying the frameworks, the outcome should be the same. Like I could resign the day after all the frameworks are gone, are there, and the outcome should be the same. So I think that is something to aspire to. It's just like the fourth category after the first three. So it's a train in motion. Whether it's going to crash or get to its destination, it's up to us.
And in terms of what Cameron, you mentioned, the status of the House of Merit, I guess like regular kind of like organizational theory governance, you would maybe in democracy theory categorize this as sort of a majority dictatorship. So you could actually say it works because you have stuff that's being pushed, but you are questioning the representation. Is that how it's supposed to be? I just wonder, AVB, how do you see that situation?
I mean, if I had to be devil's advocate, and I think I am the only one that is more in contact with the other faction, an analogy would be when you go to like a legal case in court, and there's some great examples captured in English common law. Sometimes a judge slaps a lawyer because they're just wasting time. There's an accident and the insurance company is suing and the lawyer is asking, is the person alive? Of course it's alive, it's in the room with us. So there are things that you, for the sake of efficiency and pragmatism, you just don't waste time on because you can just assume. So when you look into governance, the tricky area is if we have a majority and we're all busy doing 4 things in the ecosystem, do we have to spend an entire week, with mental masturbation, for lack of a better word, on something that we already agree on, and if we disagree, put it in writing, post it in a forum, it's going to pass anyway. I think that's a tension that we have. How much is due diligence? How much is due process? How much do we grant people the opportunity to express themselves? Do we have a body that is intellectually honest to consider different points of view and to blend in different points of view so that we have some compromise? How much is it super basic and we just sign it and move along? Like, we have to do years worth of work, if you look at like the real world, in 6 weeks to make sure that this stays alive. And that's the tension. Whether everyone is able to see how complex that is and where to be super fast and where to take the time to ask questions, I don't think so. It's more of an ego issue. Everyone is very successful in their own space by doing their own thing. So when you're suddenly all equal, it's. Yeah.
If I just may, and I'll let you follow up. What another key thing I heard you talk about, AVB, and also a bit you, Blaze, is institutions, right? We have this body, and in states we also know that you can have institutions, but if there's no legitimacy around those institutions, then basically, you or whatever policy output or policy outcome there might be, it might make, it might have zero value or negative value if there's no legitimacy. So I just wonder, and like, how do you see that, Cameron, in terms of what you describe of House of Merit? How to approach this from where we are now? What should we do now to make sure you from your point of view, representation is taken into account? There is legitimate organization.
So first thing is implement some basic processes. How quickly can a vote be passed, or how many people does it actually require to vote? Can people vote just to have even if quorum is met, can they vote just to have their voice heard? These are all things that aren't totally defined yet within the House of Merit, and so I'd say first things first is just get clear on how decisions are made internally. And this was one of my primary points before we pass a budget. Let's understand how we would actually go about spending that budget before asking for money. And so first thing is just implement some basic processes around capital allocation. Second thing is devising a strategy, very basic stuff, by the way. This is not rocket science. It's not new. Corporate strategy and corporate governance has been around for decades, or hundreds of years. And so we can just implement a similar process. And grant programs have also been around, and we've learned a lot of lessons around grant programs. And people here, honestly, are just trying to reinvent the wheel while this has been done before.
It was interesting. Everyone always references rocket science. Rocket science, it's hard for it to succeed, but it is easy to see when it is not working. The rocket exploded. And this is where I think that there needs to be empathy. If you're speaking with spectrum level engineers, it is easy to know that your technical code is not working because it doesn't work. You get together to troubleshoot, and you have a shared language where either you get the outcome or you don't. The sad truth in the social sciences is that everyone bends themselves backwards to interpret the same words differently. And that's why us lawyers become absolute millionaires watching two people try to ascertain what the meaning of X word is.
Community. What is community?
And I think that's where, for something that the engineers know can easily be fixed if it doesn't work, for us who suffer watching extremely poor writing and then extremely poor interpretation of what was poorly written in the first place, and there's no clear way that things die in social experiments. States don't go bankrupt. Gus from Denmark may challenge the legitimacy of an institution, but the truth is, the worse institutions are run, the more likely they're to succeed. So we have that challenge of trying to understand that we're building a digital nation. Some people emphasize the digital, some people emphasize the nation. The digital camp is extremely confident because A, when it's failed, but B, they're the only ones that can build it. That we buy into the vision or we don't. The nation camp, oh man, that's a bunch of childhood trauma and vision and utopia and dystopia. There's a point where you go around in circles, and at many points of the circle you have to ask, are we still talking about the near ecosystem, or are we projecting something else here? Are we talking about incredible products for mass adoption and consumer applications, or UBI? Where are we at? Because they're at some point just not compatible. And if they are, the conversation is so broad, it loses meaning. So I think we need to pick our battles. Cameron and I have had conversations. Sometimes we compromise on one thing, grassroots budget. Done. Let's focus on processes. Some things in the past may not be ideal, not much we can do about it. The key question is, in 6 months' time, do we have a new successful election, or do we wrap it up?
Yeah. And how do you see that, Blaze? Is it all about processes that I heard a lot of talked about, and getting more into connecting better the culture, or are there specific products, technological things that also needs to be iterated on? As you're saying, it's a complex problem. As AVB is saying, we may be like several complex problems at the same time, like we have several battlefronts. Are there legal obstacles? Like, what do you think like are some of the main things that you've already been part of the journey of NDC for a while? But like, what are the next big like challenges you see to address
So
this?
yeah, I mean, our challenges, are the same challenges really that we've faced since the beginning of the ecosystem, and that is that, NDC is not our first experiment with deploying funding, right? We've had the grassroots movement going for a while. We've had NF deploying grants, right? We've had what we call guilds previously that were deploying funding. So really, I think our largest challenge is a challenge that every community or ecosystem face, and our largest challenge is collaboration and innovation, right? How do you bring a bunch of people together to make them want to collaborate with one another to create that vision and move forward? So yeah, on the technological front, we've got to build better elections, right? We need to look at the legal aspects of what does it mean to have these governing bodies? Do they need specific legal requirements or specific, legal setups, to further protect or indemnify the members of Congress? The other aspect is the processes and procedures, which we're talking a lot about now. How do we actually deploy funding? How do we measure the result to make sure that we're actually growing the ecosystem? We just don't have a lot of folks taking funding. That's what we saw a lot at last cycle, is that a lot of funding was deployed, but the actual measurable result was quite small. So we need to make sure that these experiments that we're doing have tangible results and are moving the needle forward. And that's probably the biggest challenge. So we just won't get there this first governance session, but the idea is to put enough rigor, and I won't say rules because we don't want a ton of rules. The moment we start introducing rules, then we got gatekeeping going on again. So how do we really collaborate and create enough rigor in the system just so that it propels through this next Congress session? We have a fair election, we elect members to Congress, and we've got a better operating model for governance than we do this current session. That's really where we're at.
If we think of governance as capital allocation, because at least for now, that's the community treasury and how to allocate capital, and then we draw an analogy with, say, a VC fund. VC funds are mostly fails and some wins. The wins make it worth it. In a young ecosystem, we should be thinking the same way. We really don't care if 90% of things we fund fail. We just want 10 things to take us to 10 million daily active users, and then 20, and then 50, and then we just keep learning and iterating. So the issue with the funding is not really the metrics, or not really what we're funding. The issue are the humans. The technology is great. The problem is, do we have, or does the community feel like we have the due diligence required so that if something fails, we feel okay because they tried their best and we move on? We should encourage entrepreneurship. That's American spirit. Hi, Lisbon. We should not be a culture that punishes people for being wrong if it was an honest attempt. If you worked minimum wage nights and weekends and tried something new, we should applaud that. So then the question is, what can we do to ensure that the people that are in charge of disbursing money are always A, required to have that high standard, considered a full picture, and B, are actually doing their jobs? The problem with DAOs is that the moment you grant autonomy, I have the autonomy to go to bed anytime that I want, but if I were flying a plane and there's 700 people waiting for my A380 to depart, I am no longer autonomous to go to bed at any time that I want and drink a bottle of scotch and whatever. So there needs to be a compromise of, it is a privilege and a big responsibility to represent the community in these bodies. And we should be demanding these bodies to operate at a high standard, and we should be unapologetic about this, and it's the only way we move forward.
So let's talk about the House of Merit.
Just to cut in, so we're about to already go to the second half of the session. I'll just let Cameron respond to this one, but before that, our dear Morning Fresh audience, please think about questions for the guys, because in a moment we would love to hear from you. Yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
so like, these people, like in the House of Merit, a lot of these people are busy. They run other companies or other, Bone Wing manages entire protocol team. So he doesn't always have the time to sort of deal with governance. And you need to motivate these people and inspire them to want to contribute. And if you're around a bunch of other people that, you don't necessarily align with, you're not really inspired to contribute. You're not really, at all incentivized. And right now in the House of Merit, I just think like there's very little incentives for very busy people who have very important other things to do to deal with. Honestly, there's a lot of incompetence. A lot of people in the House of Merit don't actually have merit in the ecosystem. These people were just like moderating Discord channels and stuff, and that's important, but they're not like actually driving real ecosystem metrics at scale. And I'm very just not confident that these are the decision makers that we need in order to drive the ecosystem to be competitive, not with Solana, but actually with like AWS. Like we want to open the internet. We're competing with Google and Amazon. Like these people in the House of Merit are not the current people that are going to actually compete with Google and Amazon. And so, we need to actually refine what merit means. And I guess this is now up for the Congress to decide. But I'm not optimistic that these people are going to figure it out, including myself, because I don't want to participate.
So maybe that was a great end note for provoking more questions from the audience. I don't know, we will see. But we will open up now for questions from the audience. So we think we're going to start over there with this gentleman. You have a mic coming just next to you there. There you go.
Hey.
A lot of incompetence, yeah.
First of all, governance is very difficult, as you can probably tell from what's said and reading between the lines. I guess it's important to say who I am. My name's Herb Stevens. I'm one of the co-founders of the Democracy Earth Foundation. I've known Cameron since he was a student at UC Santa Barbara, leading the blockchain efforts there. I'm also one of the co-founders of proofofhumanity.org. I'm actually ID number 1. And I heard Cameron make a comment about, governance has been done for hundreds of years in a very, very productive way. And if you look at the way venture capitalists deploy their money, in every organization, you have a board, you have a management team, and then you have the shareholders, right?
Who's that,
And
Billy?
the board is typically kept really small and tight, an odd number.
Human number
5 typically, not 20-something. I'm also an advisor to Aragon. I'm credited on their white paper. And early on, they decided, with all good intentions,
My stream is
let's
glitched,
hand
guys.
governance
Sorry
out to the
if
community.
any of you chatting me.
I pulled my hair, I yelled at them, I said, don't do it.
It's all in Billy
And if you
today.
saw their announcement last week, they just gave back $175 million to all of their users, and they're starting over. I would advise, keep your boards really tight. They're incentivized to know what the community wants, and they can make decisions really fast. And if you throw out governance to the community, the problem is time. Yeah, we have to move fast. We actually have to have results. And whereas it may work itself out, it's going to take years if you throw governance out to a huge community. Keep it tight. Have a management team report to the board. And then there are certain times when, yes, you throw it out to the whole community for a vote. And that's where you elect that board, right? And so that's my piece of advice, and I'd wondered why you aren't heading in that direction, a proven direction where hundreds of millions of dollars are deployed to very effective governance.
Anyone want to take that, AVB first?
If that was a question, it's-
Yeah.
You'll get Bodie McBoatface. Yeah. You guys know Bodie McBoatface? Like the British government wanted the community to name a boat, and they named it Bodie McBoatface. And when you throw it out to the community, it's going to be, run by a bunch of degenerates, especially when it's anybody who has a wallet and can scan their face.
I think
They're not real contributions to the ecosystem.
I think that people need to become better at scenario planning. As someone that has now outlasted 3 Near Foundation CEOs, we need to really think, okay, what happens next? And then what happens next? And what happens next? When you have very busy, very talented people, very accomplished people be elected into a house of merit, the community is signaling something. We want quality, we subscribe to their work. When they don't show up to the work, are they at fault, or is the house of whatever institution not enabling them to operate at the same level there as they have already proven that they can operate elsewhere? The game theory here is very simple. I know that my protocol that I run is not going to go away. DevOps is very smart. They slowly move to the corner, and they are as solid and as successful as they've ever been. If you don't make room for me to contribute, I know that you'll be dead before I am. And this is where the ego and the humbleness and to understand where we're all coming from is, because now people come to me as a person in the intersection of most communities asking me, why are they not participating? Why are they not contributing? I was like, well, maybe because you tried to fuck them for 6 weeks and now you're wondering why it's a silent fault. So this is a fundamentally human problem. The intention of the checks and balances is there. What we're doing, the Transparency Commission is there. If people can't talk to each other, there's nothing I can do about it. And to be honest, NDC, if it succeeds, it's going to be like AI driven. And if it fails, it's going to be because another governance experiment in the history of governance. It's just hard.
Yeah, so I would just, to answer your question more directly, we do have somewhat of a board of directors. That's called the Council of Advisors. One of the things we didn't cover in this session was the governing bodies and what their actual roles are. So the Council of Advisors has the ability to, veto legislation, veto budgets based on, how the progress is going to make sure that we're heading the right direction. So they are somewhat the board of directors in that scenario. We have the Transparency Commission. One of the things that we know for certain is that collusion, misappropriation of funds, misconduct, they seem to be very, keen things in Web3. And we know that's something for Web3 to truly begin to grow. And we've heard it throughout the conference. People said we need to remove bad actors. So we created the Transparency Commission to be the watchdogs of governance so that they can remove bad actors in the case that those things are found. The House of Merit is a bigger body, but it's really about representation of our entire ecosystem. So we have many verticals. We've got DeFi, we've got creatives, marketing, right? We have gaming, we have all these verticals. So the idea of the House of Merit was to get good representation of the ecosystem because they're responsible for budget planning to make sure that there was good collective representation. Now, this is an active experiment, and we are looking at how this is actively working. What's interesting is that we made sure that only OGs could be elected into this first Congress. So you had to be with the ecosystem at least a year and a half, right? And like Cameron said, we see several very successful individuals elected into this Congress. But they have very active projects they're responsible for, P&Ls they're responsible for. And so what we're trying to see here is where is the kind of the fine line between being very successful and running your own project and then contributing to governance versus maybe you have a smaller project and are more active, right? Someone like AVB, he's been around for a long time as an active community member, active really part of the community, and so he's going to be more active. So we're seeing this experiment live, and we're not going to really quite know 100% until we get through this next 6 months what it looks like. Now, there has been a question proposed, do we need to bring professionals into governance? Do we actually need to hire real governance professionals to come in and run part of this? And so that's something that I think we'll have a better understanding of if this, to see how this current Congress executes.
So please, Cameron, a short answer, and we're gonna follow up to your professor, and we're gonna go back to the next question.
Hopefully,
Just pull up a chair.
The working at Near Foundation for a while, we've been trying to solve some of these hardest questions about identity systems and voting and all this other stuff. How do you actually assess the growth and success of an ecosystem? Really hard questions to answer. And I feel like all of these hard questions were just taken and just shoved over to the NDC to figure out. And given about, hey, you have 6 months to figure out how to do verifiable human voting and make sure that there's this digital government that can be stood up. And it makes zero sense, because now we have a bunch of people that are supposed to be solving, honestly, these completely unsolved problems in all of society. to be done in 6 months by people who don't have experience doing it and or have any actual process that they're interested in implementing, because a big part of this is a lot of these people are actually from places that don't actually have functioning democracies. And so now you're trying to get a bunch of people who don't have great experience with democracy to not only interact and behave well in a democratic process, but then create one. It's kind of insane. And so I actually think that this is kind of set up to fail, because it's probably trying to answer all the unsolved problems in 6 months.
If you would think about it as an MVP, and you say, okay, it's MVP, so you need one thesis to test for this product, or this incremation of an MVP, right? Then it's quite a lot of things you're trying to test at the same time. And then you have 6 months right now, iteration loop, basically, right, to then do that again. That's
identity, voting, attribution.
But I'm sure this is a topic we're gonna enter. I just want to park it for one moment, AVP, and then go for more questions to the audience. So please raise your hands again. We have one guy in the front row here, please.
So I have 2 questions. One is, how do you know, after 6 months, you are successful? The second question is, it looks like the way you guys are operating is more like a one-person company. So that means I have to do everything. So I have to build the product, I have to go for funding, I have to fix a bunch of other things. So you have a bunch of these problems like identity and this and that. Is it also responsibility of House of Merit to figure those things out, or figure out how we can help the ecosystem, or how we can bring more people? So yeah, so the question is, why do you have a separate body who think about the process or improving the process? Because that's different from running.
Good question.
So it's driving a car is different from maintaining the car, right? So I'm probably not going to maintain the car if I want to drive properly, right?
Yep. Yeah. Let me answer that. So we'll start with what we did, right? So what we had originally was a governance working group, and that working group was really broken into 5 main work groups that focused on standing up governance. So we know that technology and the tech stack, like we've got to build technology to be able to vote, do all of these things. Governance is another category. We need folks focused on building and designing governance processes and procedures. We know that legal, in Web3 is a major aspect that needs to be addressed. Really, the other one is marketing. How do we market the NDC? Do we market it at all? Do we market the Near brand? How do we associate those things? And then the last one's community engagement. How do we keep the community engaged in governance and throughout the process? So the idea is that these work groups are supposed to carry into V1 governance. So we haven't actually reached that point yet. One of the things that was a little bit of a challenge when we transitioned from the GWG, which was a smaller group of people, only about 7 to 13 people doing everything, to now we scaled that up to 29 individuals, was that some of the factions or some of the coalition didn't want to engage the existing governance working group. So all of that, process and that translation and that migration was lost. So that's one of the reasons that we have kind of the situation we have now, where everything looks a little bit dysfunctional, because there wasn't a true transition plan, right? Now we're seeing that everyone is actively engaged in Congress. Their mindset's beginning to change. They first started out with everything's terrible, and now they're starting to say, oh, well, maybe it's not that bad. It just needs improved, right? So, but absolutely 100%. We need to make sure that we have RFPs for the technology, or work groups focused on technology, work groups focused on governance and processes. We need to get legal in place, right? So all these things need to be created in more of a decentralized fashion from what they were before, and that's the real goal of this. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, that's the longest call I've been for a long time. There is definitely different points of view and a discrepancy on how much the NDC should do. I personally think that it was attempting to do too much before and didn't actually do
this guy
that
doesn't
much.
give a fuck.
Look at him. He's like looking
The
at him
problem is
like,
with
you
regulatory
little
capture.
shit.
If we say there is one body that will do
Staring at him,
A,
make you see a shadow. Look at
you
him.
exclude other people to also do it. And what I'm
He
seeing in the
doesn't
ecosystem now
care.
is high-ranking people going around giving multiple groups trust, resources, but no loyalty. Either you ship or we don't give a fuck about you. Like, this ecosystem has to grow. How did we have a legal working group funded for an entire year and 20 council members now are being told to go engage private legal counsel because we don't have answers
Yeah,
to these
yeah, I
questions?
did answer him in
How
the
did we have a
comment.
governance working group for an entire
We'll try
year
our best. You can ask
and we
your
literally have a
question, though.
one-pager that says you have oversight? We've spent 4 weeks drafting over 100 pages of frameworks and processes, and then the creator of the one page telling me I don't have mandate or scope. These are the situations where you're like, look, either we do something or we don't. And if we have a choice, I'm a minimalist. Marketing DAO. Everything you've seen on stage today, where have you heard about it before? Why haven't we had any bounty? I wrote the Marketing DAO charter, and I can tell you, we're falling way short on those metrics. Why have we not had any other initiatives funded from the community treasury? V1 makes me bullish because we finally are opening the door for initiatives. Yep. In my perspective, House of Merit should be very minimalist. They simply approve a budget and they put in the frameworks and the criteria to give the money out. We should be saying, hey, the community treasury is a big pile of gold. It will be given to our best. Come with proposals. We shouldn't be catering for the lowest common denominator, keeping people that want 10 a month to do some bullshit online. No. We need to go out there and get our best. It doesn't matter. Is it 10,000 a month? Is it 50 million? You tell us what you can do and we'll figure it out. The money is sitting there. We've got very capable people with the intellectual capacity to assess anything that comes at them, and we should be enabling other people. I am allergic to bureaucracy growing. I am allergic to people being further and further removed from the community. And the new management, which has its ways and may not be popular, came in to course correct this feeling that we were no longer a blockchain ecosystem. They came in to represent the engineers that have been dedicating 2 years at a time to deliver technology that is unparalleled and no one knows of. So I think that we are at the crossroads where we have to decide whether we're a builder's blockchain or a bureaucracy blockchain, whether we want to be passive and mediocre or be willing to say, hey, maybe we can agree to disagree, but we have to move on. And yeah, I think that Cameron has his work cut out for him.
Do you want to quickly comment or we move to next?
We can move to the next.
Yeah. So let's go to the third question. And we have a guy that put the hand up very fast. We'll go for him.
Yeah, overall modern age governance is pretty tough. I mean, applying traditional governance values to techno-social projects or things hasn't proven to work well. And by techno-social, I mean anything that involves technology and anything of the social or the soft sciences, right? And we see this happening across the board, not just in NEAR. It's happened to Compound, where governance was driven by VCs in particular, most recently in Polkadot, where proposals were being hijacked and so forth, and even ApeCoin DAO, which I was involved in. But I think there's light to bringing subject matter experts or people who can be very critical on things that are happening and or advice on how to do things. But I think a core struggle really has been on how do we identify these subject matter experts that can come on board, and how do we keep them engaged and incentivized? And this is something I think in other ecosystems, ask themselves. And I'm curious to you guys, what's your take on this? How do you keep these folks or find them or keep them engaged in providing value to the ecosystem?
Yeah, I can really just speak for myself. Why I want NDC to work is because I want this like mothership of an organization where I can spin up local communities. So I run the Banyan Collective is essentially near US. We help seed, near San Francisco, New York. Plan to seed Austin, Seattle, Denver, Chicago, DC, Florida, like Miami, all these other city nodes. And I don't want to be this megacorp. I don't want all of these people reporting to me and us. I would much prefer to spin up a grassroots organization and have that point them to the NDC to get long-term support. And so I am directly incentivized to have NDC succeed so I can actually push people to a proper bucket of funds, and those funds are actually like followed up with proper due diligence, and there's like we can grow the ecosystem this way. And so I want NDC to work because of that. So I guess my point is I'm participating because I'm directly incentivized for this future of my company. If let's say the protocol team doesn't really see a need for the NDC to exist, I'm assuming that those people are not going to be as active. I'm not saying that's the case, but like we need to actually align the goals of the NDC with the goals of the individual. Because right now it's not going to be money. You can go get more money doing other things. It's not really just interest because those people weren't researching and doing those things before. They were working on another project, and so I don't know. I would say just make sure that the goals of the NDC align with the actual goals of the organization people.
If you remember my reference to DevOps living in the conversation, they have a really interesting initiative around decentralized DevRel. So before it was within Pagoda. And I've attended conferences literally everywhere in the world, paid by myself, and I'm often the only one that is not an employee of Foundation, Proximity, or Pagoda. So just having a decentralized DevRel where anyone can put their hand up and say, hey, I've got the skills, I've got the interest, I live around the corner, and there's an avenue for them, makes a huge difference. So the question is, how can we extend that to more things? I see DevRel and evangelists or cheerleaders, people that can represent Near and get interest and leads and then direct them to the right person as being slightly different. How do we create a structure and programs where people feel like there's backing for them to go out and do that? I can tell you, for most of my time at Near, we've never had that. You go out there, you meet some people, you tell them Near is great, and they get excited. I don't know where to send them to. NDC was nuclear. I would certainly never send anyone that way. That's the easiest way to lose people until now. And the question is, as Cameron says, how can we remove most of the governance and bureaucracy so people spend the least amount of time doing the minimum needed so that they can then go away and create value in their own ways? We can't predict it, but we really need to get that.
Subject matter expert value. So like you're going to need, over the last year and a half, we stood up all these builder groups. We have a wallet builder group. Go to nearbuilders.com to check out all the builder groups, NFT builder, DeFi builder, all these other things. And so if you go to one of these conferences, you meet a DeFi builder, send them to the DeFi builder group, send them to the wallet builder group. And then in my perfect world, each of these groups will have their own treasury to set the direction of that key vertical. But right now in the House of Merit, they don't want to touch anything that I have been remotely a part of. And so this is the challenge here. Because I'm not even a part of this. I get zero money from this. The whole point of me standing up these builder groups and Shot on my team is to actually step back and have new leaders take control of that vertical. But this is the dilemma we're in now, is that everything I've touched is radioactive.
And maybe you want to follow up. It sounds like you have a follow-up to that. Go ahead. But
I was talking to Cameron a little bit about this. And, I think in particular, just me myself being in the space for over 10 years, I think at this point, for folks who are SMEs, right, or what he just mentioned that are, the contributors that want to essentially share the project, I think there's an information problem because a lot of folks in the ecosystem, sometimes they do these things for hedonistic purposes. They don't care about getting paid. They care about contributing. I think most of the time we see that folks leave an ecosystem or kind of step back because no value is highlighted or the information that is being disseminated is not shared with the world. So you might have someone propose or get feedback to a white paper, write a white paper, make a contribution, but they're not getting the right amount of information or value out of it. And I think one parallel that I recently saw was in the academic area, in the academia, right? As a PhD or people who are doing research, you have your quote-unquote duty to do peer review. This is a not paid work. You might be reviewing an 8-page paper, which might take you 5 hours or something, right? And you go ahead and write down and say, hey, this is how I think you should improve it. I saw this happening somewhere else, or this is garbage. So for the past few years, a lot of folks are doing a great job, but most recently, a lot of professors and people in academia have been writing really bad reviews for students and academic papers. And just at this point, we're seeing that a lot of these folks are taking these reviews that were given to them and that are horrible, putting them on socials and saying, this person did a bad job of reviewing my paper, But again, this is unpaid, and most people really just want to do it for the hedonistic value. And I think it's an information problem because in ecosystems, sometimes you have people that come and provide value without getting paid, but they're not getting highlighted, or essentially the information is not disseminated quite well. Just some thoughts.
Yeah, so just to come back to your question, then we can go to the next one. So how do you keep, and how do you find these advisors, these experts, how do you keep them engaged? First, it starts with contribution, and you just literally said that, right? You've got to find people that are willing to contribute to the process. That means that whatever's being worked on aligns with their passions and their own personal goals, right? So just hiring experts and bringing them in isn't necessarily going to move things forward if they're not passionate about what we're actively trying to achieve, and then they're not engaged in actually contributing. So I think that's a key aspect. You can bring in hundreds of people and maybe only find 3 contributors, right? But then the second point you said, and that's something we've got to get better at, is how do you kind of put the spotlight on people and thank them for their contribution, right? So we created something called Kudos, which is about appreciation, acclamations, right? We need to do better about celebrating the contributions of folks, paid or unpaid, but certainly even for the unpaid folks, to make sure that they are getting notability within the ecosystem and they're building reputation. So reputation is a big item that we need to continue to work on and build that shows your value of contribution to the ecosystem overall. But yeah, that was just a follow-up there.
As you guys all know, the end is near, so we just have time for one more question. And I see you have been very proactive, so please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for everyone for discussions. I want to make a call for action and also want to see how, what do you think about it? So I have a lot of reflections, and I see that many people talk about the problems, which is kind of a good, but okay, I mean, everyone can see different problems from different perspectives. What we need to create is a place for project managers. I really see it missing. People don't talk about it enough. If you go to a successful business, if you go to a successful creators, they will see, we need a project manager. It doesn't matter if it's a technical, artist, or community. Project managers. I don't see project managers. I don't see enough people talking about it. That's my latest reflection. Yes. What do you think about call for action?
I love it. Just want a racy chart. What are the things that we have to do? Who's actually going to do them? When are they going to get them by? What is going to happen if they don't do it? What is going to happen if they do it? This is not that difficult. But
it's not that difficult, but we need to make that space. Found it. Create it.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not
don't post it, nobody will post it.
It's not that difficult. It's just that somebody literally has to show up. The bar is that low. And to the point that I started with, humans using language.
Well, you can wait or be proactive. Be proactive.
You want me to answer the question, or? The challenge that we have with communities, are we still in bull market mode where we do some bullshit airdrop and we pretend like there's users because they just want to get $20? Are we on corporate mode where we have millions of users that no one knows who they are and whatever, they have transactions for now? Or do we really want to go to that core? I mean, I define community in Web3 as the people that are willing to take credit for somebody else's really hard work and they go out there and sell it. I spoke to Skidanov yesterday. He doesn't know how to speak to humans, but if I get excited about his work, I am out there whoring myself to sell it. That's community. Where are the diehards that understand the engineering, and while the engineers take some rest, they will go out there and sell it? Now, all of us are gifted programmers. Some of us are psychopaths that can talk to people. We've got a community. We can succeed together. We have never really tried to identify and empower that cohort. The people that do it, they have it in their core, and the day that I live near, I'll be either dead or near will be dead. But most other people that were there at some point, they just left. They realized, yeah, I am doing free labor for somebody that's really smart and I want to help them grow, but I can't carry the entire ecosystem on my shoulders. So now the message is of hope. We've got the NDC to channel as many initiatives as possible. It
Only
needs
about 5 minutes
the bureaucrats to get out of the way and let people do their best.
Any questions or anything
Once
like
again,
that,
the
we'll
call
do
to
it right
action
after.
to me
We'll do a
is,
giveaway real
you got an
quick, and
idea,
we'll
create
wrap
the
it
project
up.
manager's DAO and really get together
This
with
was
the
a
best
good one,
people
though.
you
I
can
like this
think
one
of
the best.
and put in place everything you need. I'm in calls with the House of Merit right now. Well, the other half of the House of Merit. They are looking for grassroots DAO to fund because obviously the current ones, there's just not that much happening there. I work closely with the Dev Hub. and they've been given mandate to do what other parts of the ecosystem are not doing. I'm in contact with New Horizon, and they've been given more and more expectations and responsibility. Like, no one should be sitting in their ass complaining. I agree with you. The days of anons on the governance forum hopefully are behind us. And the message for people should be, let's try to find a way to come up with a solution, remove the people that are in between you and that solution, and give it a go. Blaze, it's something that, depending on the context that you apply it to, I disagree, but as a general statement is true. When you start doing the work, you realize how hard it is. We need people to just get their hands dirty, and yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
Do you want to follow up, Cam, on this one?
Yeah, the part of the big issue is like none of us actually trust each other, and that's going to be a really hard place to start if we're trying to build a digital international government that is responsible for redefining a voting system, identity system, attribution system, and like honestly these unsolved problems that no ecosystem has solved before. And I would say it probably starts by just hopping on a call and understanding why we're all here. I was very transparent of why I'm here. I want an entity that I can spin up organizations to and that we're speaking to. And so there's the big question that I want to flag, or not question, but point, is the whole Transparency Commission at some point was funded by Marketing DAO in the last like probably 2 months or so. There's a you can go to the forum and actually see all this. Why, if somebody in the Transparency Commission primarily gets paid through Marketing DAO, bring up any issues with Marketing DAO? There's a absolute conflict of interest here. And,
I mean, as a number one spokesperson against the Marketing DAO,
yeah.
See, it's ironic that people complain that I would be biased against the Marketing DAO because I have been so outspoken, and that I would keep them in place because they pay me. This is where you need to have processes and integrity.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter who makes an assessment, if you apply, and I can show the framework, 9-step process, and then you establish every single element. This is what lawyers do. This is what legal process, due diligence looks like. Anyone that applies that list should come to the same outcome. Collusion. If a proposal would have not been approved but for the hopeless people in place, corrupt. If a proposal would have been approved by anyone, you put it in front of them, and you can actually do a sampling size. Get 4 random people from Foundation, from random people from any country that you want, 4 strangers from the street. There are processes where these claims can be established. We've got a very comprehensive conflict of interest, proactive conflict of interest, where people will have to disclose, and then we manage the conflict. They can put measures in place, information segregation, you can abstain for certain things, you may have to step down. Like, most issues that can be identified can be dealt with, and this is where the importance of having a clear beginning and a clear end, and your process in the middle are, because the toxicity of half-baked ideas and ill-informed claims, it's killing the ecosystem.
And with that in mind, and the time in mind, we're just gonna say that's it for today. We are all still here. We can still have a conversation around it in the corridors. We've got some boxing gloves. Thanks a lot.
Okay. There we go. So, all right, cool. Let's change this view. I don't like this view. Is it this one? There we go. It got real dark over here. It's like overcast, and I have no natural light anymore. But yeah, so
You don't have a light?
yeah, but I don't like the light. It's yellow. I don't know why I don't like yellow lights. I gotta go buy a white one. But yeah. What was your question? I'm curious now what you wanted to ask. I know they answered it, but what was your question? And we can run a Twitter picker for the... If you guys like to retweet it and tag your friends on the live. There are none. You guys don't want rewards. Femi was the only one to comment. Femi, go create a
Femi
ticket in the Boneyard.
To
What's
get
that?
the reward by himself.
Yep, it defaults to him. I'm gonna send you some near. And so, or near and jump. I'll send you some near and jump tokens. Femi was the only one to like, retweet, and tag their friends. So Femi, if you're still here, go create a ticket, drop your wallet. You've won a reward by paying attention and listening. So, yeah. Which of the question? I was about asking about why most near projects don't follow the roadmaps and they still exist. Near and jump. Wow. Well, yeah, because let's just say they want to pivot, or let's just say some unforeseen things happened, and you commented as well. Things change all the time. That was bright.
It's not like project don't want to follow their roadmap. This is big misconception about that. The thing is, things happen.
Change.
Yes, things happen while you are moving forward with the project. That goes for how much funding you still have. Did you run out of funding? What is the market condition? Partnership and other things. This thing project cannot control. So roadmap is just there for the community to look at it and to understand what the project want to build, but it's not a commitment for the project to stick in the timeline, because it may not make sense for them to be in that timeline. The condition might not be how do you say it, very well conditions for the project to move on. Let's say I want to launch a new token and BTC dropped to 16,000. What's the point of launching the token in Q3, as we said? I'd rather launch my token at a good market condition like now, for example. So yeah, roadmap, everyone want to follow their roadmap, everyone want to do it. It's not only on Near, this one happens everywhere in any project, any blockchain. When is this, when is that, when is that? The thing is, when community think of the project, they always think of their investment, their profit, their airdrop. When project thinks is different. Project thinks, should we do this? Do we have enough funding to push this? Is this the right marketing strategy? Let's talk with the marketing guy. The marketing guy disagree. The marketing guy maybe want to push it in November, but the developers cannot make it in November. They need to make it in December. So your perspective and project perspective is completely different. Project always care about what is best for the project. Community usually care about how much money I'm gonna make from this.
He's saying that Jump DeFi didn't follow the roadmap. Explain where Jump DeFi didn't follow the roadmap, and
what part of the roadmap Jump DeFi did not follow. Yeah.
How is the project bound to the roadmap? It's literally just a how do you say, a graphic the team put together so everyone would stop complaining. Like, that's how I feel. When I go to a project, nobody is bound in any way to their roadmap. They can change it up whenever they want. I mean, I would think that what they put in their white paper is a little bit more bound to it. But even then, white papers change as well. Like, I can literally sit there and say, hey, I'm doing this in the Boneyard, and then it didn't work. And so it's like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this. So, like, I don't understand why you would get upset or question that,
No. No. I want to know which part of the roadmap Jump DeFi did not follow. Before we move forward, I'm just interested to know which part of the roadmap Jump DeFi did not follow from your perspective.
Yeah, and you're entitled to your opinion. You can think whatever you want, and that's how I feel. No, I meant like to Dosu Peter, who's commenting. If he feels that they didn't go towards our roadmap or anything, like a lot of people like to complain, hey, you didn't do the airdrop, you didn't do the airdrop. And it's like, was there a timeline? Was there a deadline?
Yeah, no one is being upset here. I am genuinely interested. What part do you think Jump DeFi did not follow in the roadmap? This is what You mean like timeline wise, or do you mean like they skip some part of development?
Well, we're waiting for that answer. The QR code for this bouncing skull shard dog. If you don't have it yet, grab it. Still waiting on the new ones to come in. I've asked about it, and I haven't got an answer back yet. But we'll have a new shard dog every month. Just they were busy at Nearcon, so we haven't gotten them yet. I think
Jump
you
DeFi launch already. Jump DeFi launch. Jump DeFi is live for so long.
yeah,
They followed the roadmap with that.
where's the
Yeah,
platform? Where's the website?
yeah, Jump DeFi is a fully functioning website. If you are talking about their product, uh, the product is fully functioning. The website is fully functioning. If you are talking about token, well, why Jump DeFi will launch a token in a market that have no liquidity, man? I mean, let's say you have 3,000 jump. Okay, let's say you have the 3,000 jump airdrop. You want the Jump DeFi to launch their airdrop as soon as possible because you want to sell. For example, hypothetically, I'm not saying what you want to do. Okay, you want to sell your tokens and earn your profit. Will it make sense for a project to launch their token when there is no liquidity in the market? That's one thing. There is no investment in the market. There is no money flowing in the market. In
Especially like
fact,
investors, like big investors, like VCs,
yes,
big backers. You know.
yes. So in fact, if they launch the token, there won't be much trade on it, and the token valuation will drop drastically from what the team anticipated or the community anticipated. So if they rush launching the token, you will actually be losing money from your airdrop than earning way more money if they launch their token at a good market condition. Like now, for example, Launch DeFi is supposed to launch their token within a week or so. Okay, finalizing things. And why Jump DeFi is delaying? Because they are securing some sort of partnership with content creator to push the words that Jump DeFi is gonna launch token, which is good for the community because in this way you make sure you get more money in your token. For you, you want to get your money, you want to get your reward, you want to get your airdrop. For Jump DeFi team, they want to make sure that that token is successful launch. And I can name some project launch on Near had zero sale on their token at a bad market condition. And you can look at other project who launch at a good market condition like Celsia, Tia, for example, okay, which they had an airdrop a week ago. Their token launched at $2.50. Now their token trading as at almost $6. This is how you want to launch the token, man. The thing is, there is marketing strategies behind it. There is a lot of people working to make sure the project launch the token at the right time. Bad launch token, bad time, no liquidity market, no investors, no money, you know? So you don't earn, the project doesn't earn, no one earn money, everyone loses, goodbye. You know, that's the whole point.
And to answer your next question, if we already have the shard dog, do we need a new one? No, you don't. This is the same link. If you don't already have it, grab it. And if you have another wallet and you want another one, go for it. It's not worth anything. You can try to list it, but good luck on selling it. So, but anyways, yeah, what Seuss says is true. You know, if you're, you said, why doesn't Jump DeFi launch? I spammed the Jump DeFi platform link right there in the chat. The platform's been live like for almost a year now. I think I don't know what, you know, the
Yeah, so
statement
if
was
you were,
behind how come they haven't launched yet after so long. It's been launched. The project's been launched. You can trade, you can swap, you can stake. There's been stuff going on all year long. So either you're unaware of the platform being live, or you're just, you know,
I think he was
saying
talking
that
about
the
the token.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to launch a token in order to launch a project. The token is supposed to accommodate the platform and trading fees and all that good stuff, staking. If you go look at the tokenomics, it would make more sense to you. If you launch a token and no one uses the token, then you probably will fail.
What's
You
the
know what I
point?
mean? You
Yeah,
know,
what's the
there's
point?
no point in launching a token if no one's using the token. Now, there's been staking, there's been trading. They've locked in Mantle, they locked in Telos, and who knows where they're going to go after that. So they want to partner up, they want to market it, they want to do it the right way. So if you listen to what everyone's saying because they want their jump tokens, they're going to get the jump tokens, and then they're going to be mad because they're not going to be worth a lot of money. Like, imagine if they did the right strategy and they launched the correct way, then you would be a lot, you're going to be putting a kangaroo as your PFP, I got an airdrop, but just like everyone else does for, you see people putting meme coin in their name, you see people putting whatever, Aptos when that dropped, all these airdrops are coming by, people putting the token name in their name, or they're changing their PFPs to the token, you got to do it in the right way. And right now, it's they have to, they have a working product, and the website is there,
Yeah, to add in
that's
this,
what he meant. He said he meant the token. Sorry, not the project.
yeah.
So the token.
To add in this, sorry, Billy. To add in this also, this is actually perfect for Jump DeFi. Market is so bullish. There is insane amount of money enter the market. Cash USD money was converted to cryptocurrencies. There is a big amount of flow cash enter the crypto market that actually move things around. Not only this, Jump DeFi is already into layer 2s, and we all know layer 2s are big. So rather than people who want to buy the Jump DeFi token or invest in the Jump DeFi token will be only inside one circle of Near, now you have 3 chains and 3 communities: Near, Telos, and
Mantle.
What was it? Mantle Network, right? All are gonna participate in the sale. So you get a bigger community, bigger exposure, better market, cash flowing. You get better return in your tokens. And if you have been actually staking your NFTs from the Near for the past year, you should be probably sitting at least 6 to 7,000 jump tokens by now. And if the jump token is launching at 0.02, which is very low evaluation with initial supply of 10 million jump tokens only. Okay, so we are talking about a very low market cap. So if like there is a room for the token to actually jump in the price to like 0.1, 0.2. So instead of you getting $50 airdrop, you will be probably getting $500 airdrop. You need to think of it in this way. I understand when the community gets frustrated because they don't receive the airdrop. Remember, airdrop is to reward the community for being around, but projects are not bound to it. They are not forced for an airdrop. They do it because they want to reward community. Now, you just need to be patient, man, because people who's working in project, there is developers, there is founders, there is marketing strategists, there is social media strategists, there is a lot of things goes behind. Your perspective is one perspective, the community's perspective is making money, project perspective is making money, pushing the project, partnership, marketing. Like, there is a lot of things going in there. So things takes time. Developing something takes time.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of moving parts. It's like, the inside of a watch. If one part doesn't work, the whole thing doesn't work, It's got to be a well-oiled machine, and I don't know how some of these guys do it and have a lot going on and can handle all this, but if you don't do it correctly, it's not going to work. And if the team feels it's not the right time to do it, they're not going to do it. So hopefully,
they basically won't risk the project success over a rush decision of 100,000 profit, man. Trust me. This project is like their babies, They're not gonna throw it under the fire like that.
And if you guys want to do a little bit of research and why I'm involved with the team, or why I wanted to get involved with the team in the first place this time last year, maybe a little bit over a year now, but go to the Classy Kangaroos. Go to the Classy Kangaroos and go read their white paper. How old is the Classy Kangaroos? Classy Kangaroos are a couple of years old now. So when I read the Classic King paper, white paper, after I minted Good Fortune Feline, this is all explained in that white paper. This was their goal. This is what they've been planning for years. It's not something they just whipped up in an NFT PFP project. Don't trust me. Don't trust whatever I say. I don't care. Go look for yourself. Go look at the white paper from the Classic Kangaroos, and Jump DeFi is outlined in that white paper over 2 years ago. So don't take my word for it. Don't take anything we say right now. Don't believe us. It doesn't matter. The writing has been there. It's been inked in long ago. This has been planned out. And for their work for the past couple of years, if not more, I don't know how long they've been planning it, but I know it's in the white paper over 2 years ago. One of the OG projects on Near, not, popping up out of nowhere. I mean, why would you question that, And they're hosting Near at night. They're doing a ton of things. Good. Nico, look at Nico. They're going and going. They're not stopping, and they've been planning this out for years. So, I mean, it's why I'm here. And I'm not saying this is why you should or shouldn't be here. I'll let you decide for yourself, but go read the white paper and go figure it out. If you just pop up and say, how come this is not launching? How come this is not happening? I mean, I think you're just looking at it incorrectly, or you have the lack of information. So, Dosu Peter, I mean, if you're still here, go read the white paper. Go. It's good that you're here asking questions. I love it when this is why I do this. Is because when someone comes along and says, "Hey, this and this and that," and they're not upset and they're just looking for information, that's completely perfect. You may be a little bit upset, maybe a few people are upset, and that's fine. That's the way things go. Everyone's win-win-win. But if you look at the reality of the situation, whatever that the position that the team is in, and the market and all that good stuff, I think you should do your research. It's good that you showed up here and asked these questions, so you figure out, or we tell you as much as we know, or tell it from our perspective, and then you can go check for yourself as well. And then you'll completely understand. I think what happens is a lot of people show up, and it's been a long time, and even like last year, literally this time last year, we were saying soon. It's a year later now, so I understand your questioning, and it's perfectly fine and normal. But I would suggest to do your research, go read the white papers, go figure all this stuff out. That way you know whether or not to invest your time or even money perhaps into this token sale that's coming up soon. So that's my take on things, and I'm glad you came up and asked questions. I wish that everyone would come up and ask questions, and just instead of just going into the Discord and complaining, and that's kind of why I'm a bit inactive there. It's just people complaining about a whole lot of stuff, and I try to explain it the best I can and be as nice as possible. But when people are coming in saying, "Hey, fuck you, you're rugging us," it's like nothing. There's been no token yet, and the platform is not even charging you fees. I mean, and if it is, it's very little. I don't think they're charging fees yet. But yeah, it's it's just crazy how some people think, and it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do type of deal, where if one person says something, another person believes it without actually going and reading the white paper and doing the research on these things. And then they say, hey, this is what they're doing. They're going to take away our jump hunter roll, or this, and this will happen. I think I never got my airdrop. It's like, okay, well, if there was a time to claim it, and there was multiple announcements made, announcements on these podcasts, announcement on their Twitter spaces, there's been, and you're just not active, and you feel you're owed something, it's just like, we can't be active for you. We can't do research for you. I mean, we kind of are, here on these podcasts and Twitter spaces or X spaces, giving you this information. We're doing research for hours, almost every day to say, hey, I can tell you what I know. And I don't want to sit here and be an advisor to you what not to invest in or what to invest in, but it's more just like, this is what I know. This is my experience. This is why I'm here. Like I said, it's like never a financial advice, but this is why I'm here. And, if you feel you need to be here for that same reason, you're welcome to be here. And, we are almost at an hour and a half. I wanted to end it like 20 minutes ago, but congrats Femi for being, at the time of me checking, being the lone supporter of the actual live. If you guys can in the future, always right when you show up, just go to the X live and like and retweet it. You don't have to, tag your friends if you don't want to, but usually I think normally we have enough jump to give a small amount out at least for people to come by and like, retweet, tag your friends if you want, up to you, but just share it. As long as you retweeted it or reposted it, it's called now. As long as you reposted it. If you're sharing the lives, I'm super appreciative of it. We need to get more people in here. We need to get more people like Dosu Peter come in here asking questions. I love it when people come in and learn something. It helps also us as the team members to understand what people are thinking and what's going on in their head, and what's it's almost like feedback. So super appreciate it. If you need to know anything else about no gift for you. You didn't like and retweet it. But at the time, if I rolled it, I was going to do a Twitter picker. At the time I checked it, nobody had done it at the time. So you got to be a little bit quicker than that. But like I said, this is why I'm mentioning right now. If you show up, like and retweet it then. Don't wait till the last minute, or don't wait for me to announce a giveaway, because you're only here for incentive-based things. I mean, if that's your thing, that's cool, but if you're not here to support, that's who I'm rewarding. If you're here to support and you like and retweet it, I don't think I should be having to ask you to do that, but I will reward people who support. There's plenty of Nico and jump rewards, and I've got NFTs in the wallet, and the Boneyard wallet I can give away. So, before we go, for the few people, there's actually a few people here. It's all good. Join late, join early. When you join, share. I'd appreciate it. And we're doing giveaways. So tomorrow, I have to say this. Tomorrow is huge, you guys. Same time, 4 p.m. UTC. We're going to have Shrapnel. And let me spam that again. So if you guys don't know, because we are giving away, or they might give away, I'm sorry. I'm not going to promise you anything because I don't know yet. But Tony, the marketing guy from Shrapnel, where are we going? It has been giving away left and right extraction packs. I'm spamming it now in the chat. He's been giving away extraction packs left and right. And some of them are worth $20, the light pack. Some of them are worth $50, which is the medium pack. And then there's a heavy pack that's worth $100. They've been giving these out like candy to everybody. It's a first-person shooter. Go check out that website. Create your account. If you created an account a month ago, you've already got the airdrop of like 1,200 Shrap, which is their token. And it's live on like 5 different exchanges. You can already extract it. So I missed it, but I won some extraction packs, so I'm super stoked about that. It's supposedly the biggest Web3 first-person shooter, and we'll have Tony from the marketing team tomorrow.
You remind me. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
So we'll have him on tomorrow, and do your research. If you want some questions, you want to ask some questions tomorrow live, or you want to think about them now, post them in the Discord. Hey, I want to ask this about Shrapnel. What's this? What's that? And it's all about user-generated content. You can create a map, and if people use your map, you will get airdrop Shrap tokens or something like that. I don't know. Go read their white paper. It looks really good. They recently had a play test with all the biggest Web3 creators, content creators, and streamers and all that stuff. They all flown to Seattle, United States, and where they have their headquarters, and they all played the game, and they all love it. They say it's the best Web3 first-person shooter there is, and their upcoming playtest is going to be December. I don't know if there's an actual date on that, but anyways, show up tomorrow, and Tony is very, very giving with those extraction packs. Yeah, thank you, Dosu Peter, for coming out. We're gonna close it up, and I'll make an announcement. I'll make an announcement on X about it and announce it. We already did, and then I'm giving away an extraction pack because I have an extra one. So yeah,
that's supposed to go to me. You said you will give me an extractional pack if you get an extra. I have 0, man, and then boom, Billy is doing giveaway for it. So I got rocked by Billy there.
We got to give it to the community. We'll get you one. Don't worry, we'll get you one. I'm pretty sure we'll get you one. Oh, you can get an extraction pack if you play. Oh, owned. Remember owned?
Yeah.
They're giving away extraction packs if you just show up and play a game. Isn't that it? Own.gg. All you gotta do is go mint a Merc. You don't need a code anymore.
I didn't mint a Merc.
Okay, we'll go get your extraction pack.
Where I will get it from?
I just posted in the chat. Own.gg. I don't think you're paying attention. They're literally giving away extraction packs for people who go and create a profile and go mint a Merc.
Okay, where I will claim?
Own.gg. It's in the chat.
I will claim from the website itself, you mean?
I have no idea. I already have one.
That's what I'm asking you, because I created
I don't know.
profile, I did everything where I can claim the extraction pack.
I would go to their Twitter or their Discord and ask those questions because I already have one and I haven't claimed it. But they're giving away extraction packs for people who go mint a Merc. Did you mint a Merc?
I did mint it in front of you, didn't I? I have,
don't remember.
yeah. I will share screen. Here we go. Guys, Billy rugged me. Hashtag Billy rug Sus. Let's say Sus so people will not think he actually rugged.
Make a post. Okay, wait. Don't make a post. I'm going to post about Shrapnel coming on this podcast tomorrow. And I want you guys to put hashtag Billy Rug Sus. If you guys go do that, comment Billy. You'll see the tweet. You'll see the tweet. Go to the Boneyard Discord, or I'm gonna post it, and I'll tag everybody. But I will announce the podcast for tomorrow, and they're gonna like the gist. Like, repost, tag your friends, and comment Billy Rug Sus. I haven't posted it yet, Kingwin. I haven't posted it yet. And I want to take my time posting it because I don't want to mess it up. Because the Shrapnel, I already have the graphic made up for it. I just have to do the tweet. So after this live, I might not do it right after this live, but I have to get something to eat. I haven't eaten yet, and it's already going to be 11 a.m. for me. Yeah, I will. I just follow the Boneyard. Just follow the Boneyard account. I'm going to post it from there.
Here, you see? I have my Merc, you see?
I'm
there's
not
no.
Sure. I just saw a tweet
There's
saying
no
they're
like
giving away extraction packs.
There's no way to claim.
Like I said, I don't know. I already have one. I didn't try.
Anyway, tomorrow I will ask Sharpnel to send me some extraction pack.
Yeah, Tony. Like I said,
I will tell him. I will tell him.
Giving. He's been very
Billy.
giving.
I will tell him. Billy rugged me so hard. He literally told me, guys, the next extraction pack I have, I will give it to you. Then I woke up the next day, literally the next day, he's doing a giveaway for it.
So, yes, we'll do. Let me go. Let's wrap this up already, because we're dragging it on now. We're beating a dead horse, but let's do that. I'm gonna make that tweet. You guys stick around and pay attention to Twitter or X. Sorry, I keep calling it Twitter. We'll do that giveaway. What are we gonna give away? I don't know what we're gonna buy. We're just gonna announce it. We'll see if Tony will provide some extraction packs. If not, I'll sponsor it. We'll do it from the Boneyard. But thanks you guys for coming out. I rug Sus, and I'll do it again. But later, guys. Thanks for coming out.
See ya, guys.
Peace.